Recording. All right, testing 1 2 2 1 2 3 1 2 3 4. All right, Mondo, could you say something?
Hello.
All right, Miguel, could you say
Hello.
something?
I am here.
Okay, good.
I
The
am
stream
here.
has started. This is basically just a live stream of our new podcast. The podcast is called, let's see, This Week in Virum with GXG and the Gods, Podcast 1. I'm here with my friends Yummy Guy and Blackjack128. Yummy Guy, could you please introduce yourself just for a few minutes, few seconds?
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
My name is Miguel.
Sure.
Also known as the Yummy Guy.
My name is Miguel, also known as the Yummy Guy. It's my online handle.
Mm-hmm.
That's about all I got.
All right.
That's
It's
about
awesome.
all I
This is
got.
just the first podcast, so anyone who views and stream it wants to play it in the background while they're playing any games, or while they're at work or driving, whatever the case may be. If you're actually the subscriber to this channel, just go ahead and hit that
Alright.
sub button, hit a like, comment, rate, subscribe. All right, Blackjack128 or Armando, could you just give us a slight introduction to who you are or what you're all about? And we've lost Armando, apparently.
I like long walkers on the beach.
I like long walkers on the
Armando, you
beach.
there?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Dude,
Oh,
give me some introduction about yourself. You know we started, right?
Oh.
Yes.
I thought y'all were still fucking around with the. I thought y'all were still fucking around with the.
Go for it.
Well, that's awkward. Oh.
Hello, Internet.
Oh well. My name's Armando.
Mm-hmm.
My name's Armando.
Also known as.
Get it. Wait.
Huh? I'm sorry?
Wait.
Give us your stream handle or your gamer handle. I'm
Alright.
sorry. Say it one more time.
Alrighty. What?
Say it one more time, your stream handle.
What? Oh. Blackjack 1228.
Dope.
Blackjack
All right,
1228.
so, back to reiteration, just leave a like, comment, rate, subscribe if you like the podcast. This podcast is just basically be on the entertainment section. The entertainment section is basically all your needs for entertainment. We're going to talk. This podcast is going to be structured in a more conservative way, and my goal right now is the basic. No, not goal. My format is now is just every odd number of podcasts is going to be structured in a way when we discuss different articles. First relating to gaming, second relating into domestic news, third into international news, and the third segment is going to be about the guests, the gods, different articles that they want to discuss. This podcast can last about an hour and a half or longer. Just like I said, play it in the background or listen to it, leave a like, whatever it may be is. Yeah. Let's start with the first article. The first article is going to be from Kotaku. Kotaku is talking about the drama that's going around in Milwaukee's Pokemon Go ordinance. As you can see here, there's a gigantic lawsuit because the way that Pokemon Go recently has been going, if anyone plays it anymore, a lot of people are upset at what's going on with their game and their mobile devices. Do you guys still play Pokemon Go?
To be honest with you, I have not. To be honest with you, I have not touched Pokemon Go probably for a year now.
Yeah, I started playing when they got rid of the tracking. It's still on my phone because I think about it once every couple of months whether or not I want to get back into it. Especially since my job is at Pokestop, or as a gym.
Yeah, so like,
But
do you think it was more like a fad for certain people rather than?
I definitely think it's a fact for a lot of people.
Nostalgia factor.
So you think
There's that nostalgia factor.
The
Yeah.
lawsuit that they're basically pursuing, I believe is now in the session of a settlement. Do you believe it's warranted? Do you think people should sue? Like, do you think people should be pissed off that their event that didn't go the way that they wanted to? I believe it was like something to do with legendary Pokemons. And right here you can see a Twitter post of people being pissed off that they're sitting around doing shit. Basically.
Well.
Uh-huh.
And it was but a year ago, some players basically destroyed the park there
Yeah.
in Milwaukee County. So that's basically what ensued. The county to enforce certain rules with a bunch of different augmented reality companies. I think one of the ordinances in the rules was that the the companies developing these games had to come up with a correct me if I'm wrong, $1 million insurance policy in the event that from their game of augmented reality, if anything
Yeah,
does happen
yeah, you're
to the
right.
area, um, it would be covered by that insurance policy. Which I don't know, it's kind of silly if you think about it, because if someone's gonna want to trash something, they're gonna do it regardless without having to deal with a video game, right?
Mhm.
Um, I mean, how much can you? I mean, like how much? Again, I guess it would be nice to know like how much damage was done last year from those Pokemon Go players, and was it actually related to the game, or was it just a bunch of kids playing Pokemon Go,
Right.
fucking
Right.
around and shit?
So
Mhm.
so
It's kind
a
of
lot of
hard
people are not
to look
feeling like
into that.
Ash Ketchum right now. They're feeling like Jake and just being ignored, right? That's basically what it is. Gary.
Nah, I feel like Gary, man. Who the fuck wants to be Gary?
Hey, they left you back in Johto, nigga.
With a bunch of bitches running with
Damn.
Gary. No, but I think it's ridiculous. It's I don't know, it's nonsense, because like I said before, if someone truly wanted to do something bad, there's no, I mean, just because of using
Right.
Pokemon Go is not an excuse.
Yeah. Like on the other hand, I not to necessarily play the devil's advocate, but on the other hand, I can understand it to a degree. I think the amount is a bit much. I don't know if I would award $1 million worth of insurance coverage, but I do kind of see where they're coming from. I mean, if you take an otherwise sparsely populated area and all of a sudden just throw Lord knows how many people, an extra, I don't know, another 10,000 people extra per week, foot traffic going through certain areas, naturally, things, whether you're looking at, um, shoot, what's the word I'm looking for?
Hmm.
Litter or whatever.
Hmm.
People loitering, throwing trash where it's not supposed to be. That was actually at one point. I don't remember what city it was. They had done a Pokemon Go cleanup event, where it was kind of like it was a more positive turn of events. And there's a big roach. Give me one sec.
Okay. Yeah. Hey, it happens,
That's
man.
awkward.
Just like it's a free flowing discussion. So, yeah. So, do you still have Pokemon downloaded on your phone, Armando, or is it in the background? Is it one of your?
Um,
Huh?
no, it was actually pretty funny. I actually deleted like probably like 3 days ago from my Note 8 because I didn't touch it. I don't know. It's like I think it was like
Hmm.
it's sad to say this because you know growing up
Hmm.
playing Pokemon, as a kid. But at this point, it's just like I think it's a fad because, well, that's not true. We live in a city where it's not that
Uh
easy
huh.
to get about, if that kind of makes sense. I guess the game would work well if you live in a city like New York, right, where you're walking all the time and it's just like you're on your phone. Then it kind of works out because in New York, I remember playing Pokemon Go and there was just shit everywhere. Every fucking corner, there's like something going on.
Hmm.
It was ridiculous how much it was. Uh, but personally, for now, nah. I mean, I don't think I'll probably get back into it. And again, like, is it because augmented reality
Right.
is it not there yet? I guess that kind of
Hmm.
brings up the discussion for that, where it's like we're only basically putting our
Right.
our big toe in the water. And again, and I guess the sad part is when you got like the
Hmm.
Milwaukee's County enforcing these rules, it kind of puts a stop into
Right.
progress when it comes to things like this. Because then you add these rules in, and then what happens? You put all these rules and regulations and
Hmm.
policies to pay for. It makes some certain companies not want to invest
Right.
in that type of technology. So in reality, they're kind of like on the foot in the sense of not having any progress as
No,
far
that
as
makes sense.
future
Augmented reality
technology.
is basically the right now in the uh, let's say embryonic stage of development, where it's gonna catch
Yep.
up eventually because technology is fucking skyrocketing in terms of development. And, into the next fucking solar flare to send us all back to the Stone Age when we're throwing rocks at each other. Basically, it's just gonna be this is going to be it. This is what we're going to deal with until the next 20, 25 years, where they finally fix the technologies for it can be mobile, it can be within the game session, where instead of just buying a console, you're gonna buy an egg, and then within the egg you can just run around and like catch Pokemon or do all this crazy thing without infringing upon the rights of others, without getting into the others' ways. It's kind of like a Pokemon Go. I feel like right now Pokemon Go is like what was a test trial of what augmented reality could be. Because I remember, like running around campus and trying to catch the rare Pokemon because they'll set the rare Pokemons in different locations. But hopefully, this is just going to be a stepping
Yeah.
stone where people can think, oh, okay, this augmented reality can be, even better. Let's fucking do Digimon. Let's do Yu-Gi-Oh. Like, let's fucking make card packs, and let's make the Yu-Gi-Oh cards augmented reality, where both of you can pull out one of those things that fucking Yugi and Kaiba had on their arms and just fucking duel on the spot. If people still like Yu-Gi-Oh on that day. All right. That closes this article. Miguel, do you want to say anything before you about this article or about the situation that's going on in Milwaukee? Yeah, I mean, none of us is gonna visit Milwaukee because it's a bullshit state. But well, how do you,
Hey, like, I heard that have
good?
good cheese.
Miguel, or Yummy guy, or we can move on to the next article.
I will say this, right?
Mm-hmm.
I will say this, right? I guess the question that they asked, like, instead of putting all these rules and regulations for certain companies, what can the city do to kind of help stop, like, I guess, littering, right? Would it just be simple just to, enforce some rules within parks when it comes to that? Just be mindful of certain things, or hire more people for cleaning the parks, I guess it depends, right?
Okay, stop the weeaboo destruction, right?
Exactly. Or, so don't go to the extreme and, like, enforce $1 million insurance. Just go to the simple where it's just like, hey, let's, enforce the rules in the park. Because that just seems like the more common sense to do. But, who am I to judge? I'm not part of an administrative staff in Milwaukee County for the governance of parks.
Basically, this is just a fluff article to get things started. But yeah, I kind of like your take on it, Armando. Seems pretty wise on your end. What about you, Miguel?
Yep.
I did end up missing.
It's all good. It's all
good. Because that nice little booger.
Yeah, did you get that big sucker?
Don't worry.
Yeah, I found it.
We're gonna talk about roaches more and more
gross
on this podcast anyway. Trust me. All right. Let's move on to the next article. The next article is basically pertaining to DayZ. Developers say that the massively influential survival game is finally leaving early access next year. Basically, I'm just reading a snippet of the first paragraph. This also means that a console version of the next year, if all goes according to plan. Personally, I'm expecting to add a battle royale mode shortly after. So, do you believe that DayZ going out of early access for since it's been in development for the past 15 years, is this a good thing for people? Like, since we have PUBG, since we have H1Z1, since we have Fortnite, and all these different types of games that we can play when it comes to battle royale survival mode, is DayZ taking the steps in the right direction to show us that, hey, we can still be in the same market category as these other games? What are your thoughts?
I mean, every time I hear the word DayZ, man, it just makes me cringe. Because, as I say, because I don't think you guys have ever played it. And I played it, like, not from day one, but maybe, like, the early, when it first came out, that same year, I picked it up. And I tell you right now, with that game, and it's something that it's so sad to say this, there is no other game that had the highest highs in the video game whenever I played it. All right, and that's saying a lot. And so I just don't think there's issues with the game, but mainly there's more. I think there's more issues with the developer. All right, that game came out. Jesus, when 2011, 2012, or something like that. And early access for DayZ, I believe, started maybe 3 years. All right, and now they're saying the full game's coming out in 2020. That's a long time. I just don't think that. I think no, it's already.
Armando,
There's
Yeah.
other there's
you might want to talk a little bit slowly and a little bit more clearly, because you're.
I used to love that game.
Yeah, you
There's
might
Mm.
want to talk a
I
little
love
bit
I used to love
slowly
that
or more
game.
clearly because your mic is cutting out from um, yeah, hearing like it was cutting out a bit. But I think I know what you can wrap up to what you're saying is that you remember the game being good in its prime, but it slowly diminished over time, and you just think that 2020 releases it's really not going to help the game in terms of like bringing back player base, the huge player base that used to fondle the game and like create tribes and
Yeah.
guilds or whatever to or groups I should say to basically have fun. Um, mm,
Yeah, because you got
yeah,
games like PUBG, right? Where it's
Mhm.
just is it
I
number
don't
one
know.
still on Steam, right? I think.
Yeah,
So
it almost hit it almost hit 3 million the other day or yesterday or something like that or today.
Yeah.
3 million concurrent players. It
and
was
yeah, that's crazy. Because think
yeah,
about the developer of that game.
yeah.
And
But
I'm pretty sure, quote me on this, is that he came from DayZ, if I'm not mistaken.
mhm.
Hmm.
But as well though, those numbers are a little skewed. To be fair, Steam charts don't account for I think the Chinese market, but PUBG does, which is why their numbers soar above. Because let's say what's a Korea, China have a very big MOBA community, don't they not? Do they not with
Right.
Dota and League of Legends and everything? None of their numbers are taken into account
Okay,
on the
so in the
Steam charts.
international
None of
market,
them.
it's basically not going to be accounted for like PUBG and stuff. Hmm.
It's PUBG. It does count
Oh,
theirs.
okay.
That's
Hmm.
international. North American players peak at around 300,000. The other
Right.
2.5 million are Chinese
Okay.
players
Okay.
or Asian players, I should
Hmm.
say. I don't know if it's strictly
Okay. So
Chinese,
Miguel,
but
would you pick up Daisy once it's completely out of early access? Do you believe like the improvement? Hmm?
I would.
Oh, okay. Do you believe in like the
No, you
improvements
could.
of graphics, the much more in-depth style that they're going for, in terms of gameplay? Having them play it,
Mhm.
re-immerse into the world that they built from a long time coming. I believe Amanda was saying it was 2013. I'm
Mhm.
not entirely too sure. I'm not a player from DayZ. So how did they convince me, someone who hasn't played DayZ? Did you play DayZ, Miguel?
Mhm. I, I didn't, but I kept my eye on it almost throughout most of its production until the full release. After full release happened in 2013, I think, right? Is that when the full release went out?
I don't remember.
Yeah,
I think the
December
early access came out
2013
in
was
2013.
full
Yeah.
release. December 2013 was when we full release went on the Arma series
Early access.
to standalone game is kind of when I lost interest in a way, just because you watch it for 4 or 5 years as a mod,
Hmm.
you've kind of seen everything. Now it's been several years, so they might impress me with something, whether it's gameplay, mechanic, graphics. But at the end of the day, even though they're jumping into the battle royale market, and where everybody and their mother's going to start getting into with battle PUBG, Fortnite, and H1Z1 or H1Z1. You know, the biggest thing that they have to offer, in my opinion, besides the zombies, is their potentially. I say potentially because I'm not familiar with the game myself in terms of like game mechanics. That's more on your side, Armando.
Mm-hmm.
Is their survival mechanics. That's something that I personally have been very interested in. Is playing a good survival game. A good survival game. With PvP survival game.
Yep.
Which is another reason why I kind of had my eyes somewhat on Escape from Tarkov, but it doesn't necessarily have those
Yeah,
survival
that's a good point.
elements.
That's a good point. So, if when it does go into full release because they want to compete in the market, how much would you spend on it?
Mm.
What will be the price? What would be a reasonable
How
price?
much would I
Yeah, a
spend
reasonable
on it?
price for you to buy it as soon as it release. Would you say?
A full release game by a third party independent developer non AAA title. I would say at maximum 30, maybe $40 if it's truly worth it.
30.
How much was PUBG?
Yep.
Was it 30?
PUBG was
Yeah.
30, even though it's still early access.
And it's a better game, to be honest with you. It's only in the sense that the mechanics of PUBG works, but then you look at DayZ, where they still probably can't. When last time I played it,
Mhm.
which was was a while back, was that the main mechanic of DayZ is zombies, right?
And hit registration, I think, was an issue, right?
And it's exactly, there was just too many issues with the zombie, the AI for it. It just, and to me, it's like if your main game mechanic or your main game is about zombies and survival, and that does not work,
Right.
then there's an issue there.
Yeah.
And it goes back from right from the beginning when the mod started to Bohemia with what's his face, the designer. I can't remember his name. Is it Peter?
Peter.
I think
That's
was it?
Yeah, Peter.
Anyways,
How do you pronounce that?
whoever it was, it's like he's not. He's like a. I guess he's a decent game developer, but I remember reading an interview with him is that he's not. He's an ideas man, right? He's not like, So what happened was during the game development, which is like all these ideas just bouncing off. I mean, they're adding too much stuff rather than focusing on the primary mechanic of the game, which
Right.
was zombies.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Basically, let's wrap this article up with the last question because we got many more to go through. So you're speaking of the mechanics of the zombies. Would you like to see like different variation of zombies, like a gigantic zombie that can be a raid that comes off the ocean like Godzilla, or like more faster zombies with whips that can basically grab a player and thrust them to it and just have your friends trying to fight for your survival? What types of what mechanic
Reminds me a lot of
from the
Left 4 Dead.
game when it releases that you'll like to see will make you buy the $30 or $40 purchasing price that it's asking for? Then the one mechanic, and just elaborate on that one mechanic, and we can move on to the next article.
One game mechanic.
Something that
One
from
game
DayZ would
mechanic.
pick you up from taking you away from PUBG,
Hard.
just for a couple more minutes.
Zombies work, man. That's it. Zombies work, man. That's
Yeah,
it.
Zombies.
That's the most important thing to me is the zombies need to be
That's
working
what they do
perfectly.
different.
Not glitching through the walls or the hitbox. It
Yeah.
needs to work. That's the main issue. I mean, I love DayZ. I used to love that game. I mean, I would play that from the moment I'd wake up to the last minute to sleep. That's how crazy it was. We were playing that.
Cool.
It's
All right.
unfortunate.
Do you guys have the articles like, up so you can like look at it and stuff like that while we go through them?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'll just talk off the top of my head. To be honest with
You
you.
got the knowledge. Okay. Okay.
Big baller.
All right. The next article right now is for Call of Duty War at World 2. Right now for PS4 and Xbox is $38. I believe this is more like a Black Friday deal. The article was posted on December 1st, so it might be still the case. Well, I personally don't have a PS4 or an Xbox One. I believe Armando, you do, right? And Miguel, you have an Xbox, correct?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So would
I
you guys
both.
pick up War at World 2? Do you think Call of Duty is worth the asking price? $38 seems like a reasonable price for a campaign, multiplayer, and an extra. I don't know. I don't know if they're doing the extra mode that most of Call of Duty always does. Yeah. I think
Well,
zombies,
zombie mode?
campaign, and then there was.
Yeah, they
multiplayer.
have it in there.
You think it's worth it?
Yeah.
No. Well, what is your reason?
No. All right. Okay.
I love
Do you like 30 frames per
whole time.
second?
That's why I built the PC.
Do you?
That's from PUBG, right?
That's my biggest issue. All right. Console gaming is a weird area, in my opinion.
Yeah.
In the sense that if a game comes out for PC, console, and or a platform, I don't know if there is one, but you know what I mean. Why would you want to buy it for a system that's locked rather than the PC, which you can do what you want with?
Yeah.
And that's the biggest issue. Now, console gaming, don't get me wrong. Mario on the Switch, I mean, obviously it's not going to come to the PC,
Right.
so you're kind of forced to buy it, but it works. I mean, I guess what I'm saying is for games that are cross-platform, I guess there'll be no point of getting it for the console because it's going to work better on the PC no matter what.
Most times, I would put kind of like an asterisk on that one.
Yeah, I guess I will say, I do remember
A
Ubisoft
lot of
games being
Ubisoft games, yeah.
atrocious
Bring to mind.
for the console port. I think Assassin's Creed was one. Now I've heard the recent one's pretty good,
Yeah,
but in the
Batman as well
past,
had a big issue.
yeah. So I mean, in that sense, I understand. But I'm talking about bread and butter
Right.
first party games.
Mhm.
That's like again, that's a given. But
Yeah,
Go ahead, bro.
I would
I don't know.
say the biggest advantage that consoles have over PC
Okay.
is accessibility.
Mm-hmm.
Younger children, you know, it's geared, in my opinion, no longer towards the hardcore gamer, even though, a lot of MLG way back, game battles and all that, it originated, I want to say, primarily on console before more hardcore gamers moved. I mean, I know
Right.
there were hardcore gaming on PC, but at least in my mind, when I was younger, growing up, what do you have? You have the computer games, or you have the console to pick from. Console is, in my opinion, for the drop in and drop out. It's easier, and again, I'm going to reuse the
Uh-huh.
word accessible for the casual gamer. They throw in their CD, or nowadays, you just boot up whatever's loaded onto the hard drive, play your game, turn off the console, and move on with life. PC is daunting for a lot of people. They see gaming PC, office PC, this PC, that PC. There's a lot of names and titles associated with the the computer community, as well as the gaming community. You know, you'll talk to gaming advocates and computer advocates and these people who, consider themselves to be gaming enthusiasts on the PC or what have you, and they start begin talking, you know, specs and everything. And for a lot of people, it's too much. They just want something they can buy from
Mm-hmm.
Walmart for $250. Hopefully, they can play their favorite games on the computer, or they take that same 250. Because I think the Xbox One S is 250 right now.
And
Buy
actually,
that.
no, it's 180.
It
Or
was on
it was
180.
189, right? 189.
Oh, I'm thinking the game bundles. Yeah, you're right. A game bundled 1S is
Um,
250. Um, take that same price. You don't have to worry about malware. You don't have to worry about um, maintenance of it. I mean, for me, I never had to take care of. I never had to open up my 360 to clean it out. Like I had to do with my computer once every 3 months.
oh
Dust stick to
shit,
clean it
I
out.
haven't done that shit in probably 4, 5, 6
That's
months.
probably
Yeah, there's easier maintenance. Plug in, drop in, drop out, drop out, play. Plug in your controller or
Mhm.
turn on your controller, play your game, turn it off. It's much easier. It's not as stressful or strenuous as the maintenance of a computer and the technology and terminology and everything. It's for, again, the younger people or less tech savvy people, a more accessible console or gaming platform.
Yeah, but fuck out of here. We Aryan
Should be
race.
master
Shit.
We
PC
ain't
Master
Nazis,
Race.
bro.
Nah, we're going
Iron
Aryan
Man
race with that
bullshit,
shit. Oh man. Yeah, so
uh,
But
I don't know. I get. Well, go ahead.
I would say that would be my only argument for. I mean, obviously, I'm on my computer right now, so I'm not one of those. I mean, even though I do own both Xbox One and PlayStation, primarily just for
okay.
the exclusives. At
But
the end of the day, when
yeah, I was
I
gonna
just play
say
it on my
with
computer.
the exclusives from Microsoft, it's like with last year's new updates, you can play
Yep, it's on
Microsoft
Windows
games
now.
within the PC. So it's like
Yeah,
I
they've
don't
lost
know.
that battle.
Yeah, it's hard. But I guess like I don't know. I guess it's a good deal. But is it a Black Friday? Is it still like a Christmas holiday deal, or is that the set price now for that game?
Might be a holiday. I don't know because you very rarely see them drop their brand new game $60 or
Yeah.
below $60 until
What's
the next
this?
game comes out.
What's the sales currently with
I
that
don't
game?
know.
Are
You
they doing
guys can
pretty bad?
cross verify with Steam.
I don't know.
Like I said, this article was posted yesterday, December 1st. Oh no, 2 days ago. I'm sorry, 2 days ago, December 1st. So I'm thinking they
Hmm.
might have kept this deal until like probably like Christmas time, where they're probably gonna lower it a little bit and then resell it out. But is it worth buying? Yes or no? That's the last question I have for you guys before we move on to the next one.
True.
No,
That
it's fine.
that was one
Your
heck of a
elaboration
tangent.
is what I
Sorry.
needed, just to have more
Yeah.
context and let this podcast be more free flowing. But just to end this question before we move to the next one, would you buy this game at $38, possibly $33 at the end of the day? Yes or no?
Considering it's a AAA title, right? Call of Duty. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a fucking, it's a monster of a game. You know.
Yeah.
Considering it came out
Yeah,
last month, 2 months ago,
November. Yes.
right?
Something like that. Yeah. Pretty recent.
60 bucks
Yeah.
for a console
Yeah.
game. Sure, it's worth it. It's almost half off.
Yeah.
Um,
In that
yeah,
regard, I would say it's worth it.
yeah, sure.
For
I mean,
PC,
if
I
you're,
would disagree. But for console, I would say yes.
yeah,
All right.
I agree with that statement. It's just you can find better deals. I feel with you know.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, I think the last game I bought was Destiny 2 for the PC. I paid
Oh,
I
that's
paid
a
$50
no
for that
offer. That's
game.
not bad.
So
Oh wow.
yeah.
I'm not particularly a Destiny fan. I know you're trying to get me to play this, but I was looking, I was looking deep into Call of Duty World War II because I haven't played it since I believe the last one I played was Infinity War, not Infinity Wars, Infinity War version, Infinite War. Yes, I'm sorry, Infinite
Infinite
Wars
War?
version.
Infinite War.
And I was like, yeah, I
Yeah.
have that Call of Duty itch, right? We all had that Call of Duty itch since Modern Warfare 2, where Call of Duty was good until Black Ops 2, and then everything went to shit in a handbasket. Hell in a handbasket. But yeah, it's not bad. If this deal was good and it's like all the way into New Year's, I might pick it up, just to fuck around in zombie mode, because I know that Call of Duty is right now it's going through a lot of issues that it's being fixed and addressed, but most of the YouTubers that I follow are basically, saying that this might not be worth it. Just wait until the price drops, and it looks like that this might be the case. I think that this is what they're doing to have more and more people play to boost their numbers, to have a reason to make another Call of Duty. Hopefully, they won't do the World War II version again. Hopefully, they'll try to do something more unique. Doesn't have to be.
World War II is the best.
I
No,
know,
man,
but
World War II is the best, dude.
That was my favorite time period to play a
I
game.
mean,
Shooter.
that is the best time.
I
It
know,
is
but a
the
lot of
best time frame.
more and more new game players don't really like
That is
subscribe to
true.
World War II as much as we do, because we actually had to learn it to pass through high school. With right now, they're probably like learning the Vietnam War is more important to them, right? Or whatever the case may be, I wouldn't know. But I would think a different niche would be good. Something new, something that's not more relative to our reality, something more different. It's like, how about just like Wolfenstein? How about we have a Call of Duty where the Nazis did win, and we're playing as we're playing as
Oh,
the
like an
Nazis
alternative
against
universe?
the Americans and everyone else to keep spreading our ideals. Even though that's politically controversial, it'd be, a good direction. But yeah, but
Heck yeah, it would be.
in the direction of like, look, guys, we can think of something new. We can think of something different instead of going back all the way back to the first Modern Warfare, where it was Call of Duty. Not Call of Duty.
Alright.
It was World War II. All right, the next article we're gonna do is Switch. Most of these articles that the last three articles we did was Kotaku. If you want to check out those articles, read it for yourself. I might leave a link in the description of those articles you can read through over, laugh at the comments of people flaming or whatever the case may be. Let's move on to the next article. The next article is going to be on the Nintendo Switch. Nintendo is deciding to add 10 new games this week when it comes to the Nintendo. This is from GameSpot. The journalist Kevin decided to add these games. In this article, it shows the different pictures, screenshots of different games that are going on right now with Nintendo Switch, especially the Xenoblade Chronicles 2 that's coming out. It's one of the most popular ones. Let me have you guys scroll all the way down to where it shows the actual list of the games that are coming out, and just give me a description of which game pops out more to you. And then I'll elaborate afterwards of mine, the one that pops out more to me, because I want to buy a Switch so bad, but I have too many fucking bills. Being an adult sucks. All right. Which game pops up to you more?
Yeah, I mean,
Evil, ACA, Neo Geo, World Heroes. I don't know what the fuck that is, but hey, if you do, then it pops out to you. Star Ghost or Xenoblade.
yeah,
Or
yeah, this is a
Xenoblade.
Neo Geo game. Well, I will say, like, the one that pops up the most is Xenoblade, just because it's like it's a well-known.
Yeah, I would say Xenoblade and Resident Evil for me personally.
Yeah, but well, I mean,
Right.
Nintendo's making a killing right now
Oh,
because
yeah.
coming out games left and right. It's a pretty good list, though. Well, I've heard some pretty decent things. I think I think with Mujo, right? That's
I do
is
not
that a
know.
cross platform? I
If
think
anytime
is
in
that
the
like yeah.
podcast you want to guys just do a quick search, you're free to do that. All right.
Yeah, I can't remember. That's a cross platform. Or that's the Android game that they're
Do you,
Nintendo. For
do you
those two.
guys believe
I
that
think it might be the
the
second one
Switch is
though.
basically a Galaxy Note 9 that's on steroids, or the new Razer phone on steroids? Do you
Uh,
believe that it's worth it to buy a Switch?
No, it's worth it in the sense that it's a
All
pretty
right.
interesting piece of hardware. But as far as comparing it to like a Razer phone
Hmm.
or a tablet like a Samsung, the sad part is that this the tech is not there in terms of the screen
Right.
because it's not 1080, it's 720. But the reason for that is because battery life. They had a
yeah.
some cut somewhere, which is
But
reasonable.
doesn't quick question. The Switch isn't it at like a 900 or something? Some like it has like a really weird aspect ratio. Like it's more than
Yeah, when it's
720.
docked, it's like in certain games. Nintendo's thing originally said Nintendo when it's docked it's 1080, and then when it's in handheld mode it's 720.
Okay, okay,
The certain I guess it's based on the game company how they designed the game.
okay,
I
okay.
think like Zelda is like 900p when it's docked, and then 720 when it's in handheld. So it just really
For me,
depends on the game.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, but
okay.
I mean
All right.
pretty
So
good month though.
I know
Yeah.
for a
So,
fact that Armando has the Switch. So I know that your reasoning to buy one of these games, especially Xenoblade Chronicles, is very warranted because you already have the console. Now, this question is more tailored toward Miguel. Miguel, looking at this list, do you believe that just this list alone,
mhm.
just be objective as you can, would this make you pick up a Nintendo Switch this coming holiday? Well, it's the holiday season, but this holiday season, would this be a something that you put on your Christmas list, your New Year's list, or a list to buy in savings? What do you think? Where would you place this at? Would you place this as the highest priority of buying, or your
From
like maybe, or your lowest priority? Like if I have the money, I'll buy it, or I gotta get this now. Go ahead, Miguel. I'm sorry. Hmm?
I would say
Hmm.
at a range of 1 to 5, one being I don't want it at all. Kind of like how you did it, just put it into like a numerical representation. I would say I'm probably around honestly 3, probably like a solid 3 out of 5, just because I've been a bit removed from the Nintendo gaming. I never owned a 64 growing up. I never
Oh,
owned
you
a
missing
GameCube
out.
growing up. So most of the a lot of the games that our generation loves and adores, like Zelda and everything, I
Oh my
never
God,
played.
really?
I've never played a
Not
single
even in
Zelda
the
game.
64 version?
I've never played it.
Blasphemy! Boo!
I have
Boo!
played 0 minutes
Waker?
of
Was it
any
Wind
Zelda
Waker,
game
right?
ever.
Nintendo's GameCube, right?
Literally 0 minutes
Yeah,
of
no,
any Zelda
yeah,
game
Wind Waker.
ever.
So, would you pick this up?
Yep, hmm? For this
No.
list exclusively, no. Only reason I would pick it up would be if the exclusives that are already out for Odyssey, for Rocket League, for Splatoon 2, for Pokemon. No, they have the Pokemon,
That's not
the new
coming out next year,
Coliseum
right?
battle game, fighting game, whatever.
Uh,
I think it's already out,
DX,
isn't
right?
it? Oh no, it was out for the Wii U. Never mind, not for the Switch. The new Smash Brothers. It's a lot of the more modern Nintendo games that I'm more familiar with because I've had access to the Wii. So those games that are already out or are projected to come out soon or within the next year, yeah, I would pick it up. You know, for those games. For these, I have no nostalgia factor whatsoever. To be honest, I
Oh,
never even played a
okay.
Resident Evil game before. I had a godfather. He's very big into gaming, comics, statuettes, everything. He invested a lot of money into it. Bought Resident Evil 5. We go up to New York to go visit him. He knows I play games and I'm good at games. Um, he said, "Hey Miguel, I can't beat this level. You play this for me." I was like, I've never played a game. I and it was on top of that, it was on PlayStation, which I have not owned a single PlayStation since the PlayStation 1 until I moved in
Wow.
with my fiance who had the PlayStation 4. So I never had PlayStation 2 or PlayStation 3, so it was brand new to me. And I played it. I beat the level for him first time playing the game. And for me, you know, I was like, oh, this is, it's neat, and that was really it. There was no, because I mean, I'm jumping into the middle of the game. There's no story to me. There was, no context for me to really get into it or to be immersed. That for me, immersion is a very big thing. I really enjoy getting engrossed into very good lore. So of this list, there's no nostalgia factor for me personally. All I have to go on is the hype of others. To be honest, as someone who's removed from the Nintendo gaming
Good
community.
elaboration. I completely wholeheartedly agree. Looking at this list, it does nothing really pops out to me besides Xenoblade because I hear so much good things about it, and a lot of people praise it as being a good game,
Mm-hmm.
especially when Xenoblade came out for the Wii U. People were like, "Yeah, pick that shit up right now," and then Bayonetta came out, I think earlier before Xenoblade. I'm not too entirely sure, but yeah, looking at this list, I kind of agree with what you're saying. As two people who don't have the Switch, but I do plan on buying it because I know that Mario was amazing, Zelda was spectacular. It might actually win Game of the Year. I do plan on doing a podcast after the VGA just to discuss what's going on there. If you guys, would like to join that as well, because you
Mm-hmm.
guys are known as the gods. Yeah. For me now, I'm gonna switch it to Armando, and I'm gonna ask Armando, so of a person who actually owns the Switch, what will be your main argument to have me and Miguel buy it next week? Like, I just basically, what would you say in a short phrase before we move on to the next article? What would you say to us to say, hey, this is what's good about this. You need to buy this next week, right now. Go ahead.
Mario, Zelda. Mario, Zelda.
Mario.
That's it. Other.
Yeah,
That's it, man.
some of the games I listed off earlier, pretty
I
much,
mean,
right?
no joke. I mean, you
Yeah,
answered your own question.
yeah,
Um,
it's for the
Be,
download
those are some
exclusives
heavy
that are already
hitter
out.
games,
okay.
man. Like those are
Yeah.
some heavy hitter games.
But
It's hard to
my
compete against
argument
those those kinds
against
of
that is like
games.
I played Mario and Zelda before. What is different? Be the Reggie right now for like the next 5 minutes. Yeah, be Reggie right now.
The
Turn into
Reggie.
Reggie.
There's no game like Zelda right now.
Uh huh.
I'm telling you. I
Is there
mean,
not?
uh, no. Well, I guess let me rephrase that. There's no game like Zelda in the
Okay.
Zelda franchise. It's for maybe for some people,
Hmm.
me personally, it's been long awaited. It's a great
Okay.
game. I will say there are some faults in it. Overall, design quality of the game is beautiful. I mean, it's probably one of my favorite games of this year, just because it just helps um, with just like everything, man. You just feel good just roaming around looking for stuff. Good feel game. I like it. Um, I will say that for the Switch, for you both, it's the potential of what the Switch brings with
That's
it.
exactly what I'm thinking.
Um, just so far, the Switch came out this year, and like, look how well it's doing. Look, all the games coming out just in this first year. I mean, it's doing great. All these great games are coming out. We got, again, Skyrim, what just came out, I think. I think I have that game like five times or three times I've bought that game. And if I won't deny it. If that game was $30 on the Switch, I'd probably buy it today. I mean, what it brings, versatility. You could take it where you want to go. It's I guess it's like, yeah, sure, there's handhelds like Game Boys and DSs, but there's not a handheld like the Switch where you have an entire library of games that are just wonderful to play inside the house, outside the house. Just kind of feels good.
It's kind of like
Um,
you go.
no, go ahead.
I would say what it kind of speaks to me and what it says to me as a big upselling point. It's for for a gaming enthusiast. It's a step up from like a gaming tablet. I guess I mean, I don't know if
Sure.
there are
Yeah.
quote unquote gaming tablets. Like for me, one of the main reasons I would want a tablet personally, besides reading and that sort of thing, would be to play games on a larger screen. So I'm not playing mobile games on this tiny little screen on my
Sure.
phone. But now, not only do I have the portability of this like a tablet-esque device, but I'm playing full-feature AAA Nintendo exclusive games that I don't have access to on my tablet. I now have in this, 720p console that I can take anywhere I want to go.
hmm Yeah, absolutely. I will say about Xenoblade. That's the one that brings like you brought it up with the Wii U that came out. Amazing game. I mean, just incredible game. I will
Right.
say it's not for everybody though. If you're not into JRPGs, then I probably would not recommend that game
Is
at
it
all.
turn-based?
Because it's no, it's not turn no, but it's like JRPG style game, not non-turn based.
Okay.
So it's not for everybody. I will say that. And then, yeah, I mean, overall, I think the main selling point for you guys would be the potential that the Switch brings in the next coming year. I mean, so far the Nintendo's had a great year. I just can't wait to see what happens next year. I will say, in the past Nintendo has had some letdowns, but hopefully
Yeah,
they can come back
Nintendo's
up
been
again with the
shit for the
Switch.
past 3 years now, but now they're like, hey, we got something, we slinging dick now, and everyone's gonna buy it. All right,
Pretty
this
much.
just wraps this up for the Nintendo Switch. This one GameSpot article. We have the last article for our gaming segment of this podcast. The last segment is gonna be for PUBG. I know Miguel is a huge PUBG enthusiast, and he knows most of the things, and that's the guy who I go to when it comes to PUBG news. But let's talk about this controversial topic. The article is PUBG will run at 30 frames per second on all Xbox One devices. Basically, PlayerUnknown himself, not really a reliable source, even though he made the game, said that Xbox One 30 frames per second. Should you build a PC for this game? Yes or no?
If
Mhm.
build a PC for the game for the same amount of money that you could put into uh if you don't already own the Xbox One. Well, that's tough to say now because the Xbox One price has dropped so much. Because I can't build a $180 PC that can run the game
Yep.
second, at least to my knowledge. My biggest issue though is I've heard talk. I don't remember where I read it uh, of cross-platform play between Xbox and PC. And if they're playing at 30 frames, they're going to be at a significant distance. Now, I know they do have a goal of reaching 60 frames. I'm guessing that's probably going to come through patches and optimizations and everything. I'm assuming they have pressures from Microsoft to have it come out at a certain time, which is probably why it's going to come out at that 30 to 40 frame threshold. But so I'm sorry, one more time. The question I'm trying to answer is, would I build a
The question
PC
is,
for
would you buy the
PUBG?
knowing that you have a PC, knowing that in your PC you can run it uncapped frames per second? Would you buy this game as an Xbox owner,
Yeah.
knowing that the game will only run at its current state right now at 30 frames per second?
Mhm. If all I own is a console and I do not have a computer capable of playing games, then yeah, I would. Similar to why I would buy World War II at 30 frames. It's a unique, at this time, a unique shooter on console. The only other console battle royale game is Fortnite. So you only have two battle royale games to pick from. I don't know what the frames are on Fortnite, but if I was a teenager again and all I had was an Xbox, then yeah, I would buy it.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay, I'm gonna read a tweet that Player Unknown said himself, and then Armando, you can elaborate of what you think this tweet means. Do you think he's being dishonest? Do you think he's just gerrymandering and just trying to beat around the bush when it comes to releasing Player Unknown's Battleground in the Xbox One? He states, while I previously stated PUBG would run at a higher frames per second at XGP launch on 12/12. I want to clarify that PUBG will run at 30 frames per second across all Xbox One's devices. We're constantly refining the game and exploring options to increase frames per second (FPS). But this early in development, we're unable to confirm more. Do you think this is bullshit, or do you think he is being truthful because he is known to say a bunch of things and then switch it all up when the developer actually speaks on the game's behalf? It's already almost been 2 years, I believe, of PUBG. You think he's being honest? Do you think he's just using this as an excuse to have this game run at 30 FPS because the Xbox One console doesn't really run that powerfully when it comes to his PC and PS4 predecessor? What is your opinion on this tweet itself?
I guess. I guess. I guess mainly PR, right?
Yeah.
They're just trying to make sure that everyone's happy. I mean, again, people say certain things and then they take it back. I mean, you see it all the time. What was it with Daisy? All these promises that never happened. Same thing with any other game. The they can't. What's the saying? They write a check that their tush can't
Yeah.
cash or some shit like that. Um, it's I guess there's no malintent to it. He's not trying to be malicious or anything like that. Just certain people make promises they can't keep, and I've come to the realization when it comes to that. When it comes
Right.
to
Right.
certain games,
Yeah.
that's all.
I guess you guys also have to look at it as well. He's also only a creative director. He doesn't
Right.
actually
Okay. He
nation
doesn't.
that's
I'm sorry.
Bluehole.
Restate that statement again. You cut
So
off a bit.
he's his position at Bluehole is the creative director on PUBG. He doesn't actually work on the game directly himself. He doesn't do the animation, coding, any of that modeling. That's the Korean-based Bluehole company, game studio that does that. So it's mostly him, like Armando said. It's just basic PR, political PC-ness, whatever. Just trying to save face and keep face for the community that he's trying to create and drive and keep uh, on what he wants to be his dream game.
Right.
So as the creator director, you're the idea guy. He's like, oh, I would love to do this. I would love to do this. Hey guys, you know, I have his Discord or the PUBG Discord. They're always posting updates and talking about things every now and again, which is one of the ways I find out a lot of information about the game. There's they'll say as a creative director, he's like, I would love to do this. This would be really cool. I mean, he at one point tweeted out a video
Ooh.
of takedowns in the game. A melee takedown where you curb stomp the enemy or you kick him over and shoot him in the head, and it was like a full on thing, like Halo Reach style assassination animation. But it's never no word has come since. He's only the creative guy. He's This is what we're working on, but I
He's
can't
the
promise it's
idea
actually
guy,
going to be in
right?
the game.
He doesn't. I mean, that's not
He's
a
the
bad
idea
idea. I
guy.
like to curb stomp some neo Nazis in PUBG when they call me nigger non-stop in the game, right? Or when they call you a cracker or a coon, or they call you a mule driver, or whatever the case may be. I love to fucking curb stomp them, tell them that I fuck their wives and shit
Mhm.
like that. But yeah, it's awesome. 30 frames per second though. Doesn't seem like Xbox is really getting the bigger hand of the stick. Huh? I recommend most people that if you're gonna buy an Xbox, you probably can save that
Yeah.
purchase for like PC parts until you can actually build the PC to run the game at uncapped FPS. Um, yeah, we've reached the 50-minute marker, and now we're gonna switch to a free-form
Dang.
discussion about different topics. First phase is gonna be first phase of content is going to be about domestic issues that's going on with the United States itself, and the next two is going to be about international discussions about articles, and in the final four, it's going to be two of each of the gods articles that they want to talk about, so where they're going to take host and basically take my position and ask the questions and lead the discussion to the direction that they've seen fit. All right, all right, let's go, move on to the domestic news. Um, big news, huge news, very big. The biggest I've ever seen. As Donald Trump will elaborate. Um, they passed the tax reform bill. Um, what do you guys feel is going to go on when it comes to your W-2s
Yeah.
in a couple months? Do you feel like you're going to get some things in return? Do you feel like that this is going to really affect you? I mean, we're not technically the richest people in America. I wish we were, but that's not the case. What do you think How do you think these tax reforms are going to affect you yourself?
All right.
In all honesty,
Mm,
Well, it's supposed to be a tax cut, isn't it? Or that's the intention anyway.
go for it. Any ideas you have about it?
well, I think the sense of how the government usually runs. The rich are rich, the poor are
Yeah.
poor.
Yeah.
You guys don't have to. It's just keep in mind. It's only like 10 people are gonna watch this. So go on. If your ideas are far left or your ideas are far right, go ahead and give the spill. Like, do you believe this is a good thing for people? Do you believe that people are really going to be affected by this, or do you feel like let me lay out the positions. The left position is that this is just a gigantic tax increase on the middle and working class and the poor. That they're basically going to be fucked when it comes tax season when they ask for the returns. Most of the deductions are been written off into the past, so more deductions that you use to basically have a higher rate of return are not going to come to you. So this is basically a tax cut for the ultra wealthy. On the right-leaning side, this is actually a good thing because this allows the small businesses and major corporations to have more profit in terms, so that they can trickle down this profit to the employees and to the consumer, and to make sure they can spend more on the economy. Which way do you guys lean towards this tax reform bill that's been passed by the Senate? Which they said that it's never going to pass, but I guess this will be Donald Trump's first foothold before he gets impeached.
It's never.
Hmm.
What's the term? Reaganomics, right? Trickle down.
Mhm.
It's never worked before. It's never going to work.
That's true.
To be honest with you. And that's the sad truth, because technically, but even before this tax cut, most corporations are saving money with all the overseas jobs for certain positions. If that was the case, that could have easily trickled down now, but that's not the case at all. Uh, so I guess my standpoint is that no, it doesn't work, because you're going based off of, there's the potential, right, of or owners to help the economy, the potential. It's not a guarantee though. I think that's the most important for me though, is there has to be a guarantee to that, but you can't guarantee someone's gonna
Hmm.
trickle down the money to someone else. It's never
Yeah.
gonna happen. It's like, I don't know, why give someone a raise when making money? No need for it either.
Oh, you got really quiet.
Oh, well, sorry, my mic got moved. Um, yeah, I don't know. It's hard because how much is the percentage of the
Yeah,
tax cuts?
if
Like, is it
for the
20%, fifty
corporations,
percent?
if I'm correct, that it's went down from 39 and 35% to 20% now. And that the corporation has the biggest tax cut, even when it comes to the tax reform.
Yeah.
And for the individuals, it's 12% for the lower half, 25% for the middle, and 32%, if I'm correct. You guys can look this up if you want to correct me on the spot. For the more wealthy, well-off individuals. That's basically the practice right now that I know.
So I guess, yeah. So I guess my point is that where is the funding going to come from if we're providing big tax cuts to the top 1%?
One
Then
article that I've read not too long ago is that the funding is going to come from, let's see, the 401k. So what they're going to do is they're going to lower the
yeah.
401k max, and they're going to make it so where you're going to spend more in your taxes on your W-4 forms. And Rubio was not too long ago. He stated himself, Marco Rubio, I think it was Florida senator. I don't know what it is, Florida senator, congressman, that that the next, oh, he's right here. Republicans will cut Social Security and Medicare after tax plan passes, says Marco Rubio. So Rubio has hinted himself as a Republican that they're going to come after your Social Security and your Medicare. So all this money that we've been working to save up when we come to retirement, it's no longer going to be there. How do you feel, Miguel? I haven't heard much from you.
Nice. Well, I'm not politically savvy, so I usually tend to stay quiet during these. 'Cause I don't want to, speak on something I'm not,
Mhm.
knowledgeable or educated on. But I guess be that voice, I suppose, as the average Joe, average, you know, person who's ignorant in political affair. I guess I could be that voice in this conversation. For myself, I would say that looking at these tax rates that the upper 90% are receiving. Oh no, wrong way around. Top 20%. Yeah, top 20% are receiving versus the all, the average Joe. I mean, really, the other 80% of the population, your upper middle, middle, lower middle, all those subdivisions of your, socioeconomic classes, where we're going to take the brunt of it. You know, the money, like you said, that we, okay, so that there is one school that comes to mind. It is a bit racially charged,
Okay.
so I'll probably leave that out. But long story short, to kind of abbreviate that side, it's basically saying for people who don't have that head start in life, who have to work, not necessarily that don't have to work as hard as some people who are fortunately born into certain circumstances in life that allow them to have kind of a certain have an advantage over others. We we have to work harder. Whether it's to fight against a racial stigma, to fight against a gender stigma, to fight against any sort of inequality. We spend our lives working and spend our lives just scraping by, living paycheck to paycheck, to have, just little trickles, little droplets in this little pool of ours to maybe grow into something, a pond, a lake, an ocean of money that we can maybe have to have a decent retirement, to have it completely stripped away, to fund this top 20%, to fund the shareholders, to fund the corporations, to fund the people,
Right.
the already million and billionaires,
Okay. Okay. I see.
without sounding too childish. It's unfair, Why screw over the little guy that does the jobs that you don't want to do? Without us, you're gonna be the one, you know, cleaning the sewage. You're gonna be the one running the kitchens in your restaurants, your favorite restaurant. You're gonna be the one taking care of your lawn. You're gonna be the one, you know, being your what do they call the garbage men? They have like a fancy technician job or fancy technician title. If we are taking care of the jobs that you don't want to do, why are you making our lives even harder than they already are?
I see the stance you're coming from. Yeah, it really comes from it because this is really going to affect us as much as we would like to ignore it or like
Hmm.
not really think about it. It's really going to affect us because. Hmm?
Is it
Oh
though?
yeah,
Is
oh
it
yeah.
gonna affect us
Because
that
for
much?
some, yeah, because for some reason our
You think so?
taxes we don't make as much as the actual middle class of the United States, and we don't make you know as much as the ultra wealthy. So we're gonna hit with the 12% bracket. I, I don't I don't really think that we're gonna have the best deal on this end of the this end of the deal. Best deal at the end of the deal. As much as that makes sense, yeah. That's I think my partake of that. I, I'm an independent. I lean a little bit right when it comes to our economics. I lean left when it comes to social values and social laws and stuff like that. But there's, I really think I don't really see anything beneficial when it comes to us normal working folks as of now. Like if I was a rich business owner, yeah, this shit would be fucking awesome. But right now, I really don't see much about it. Do you have anything, any last words or statement, Armando, before I move on to the next article?
Um, um, see. Fuck Trump. Fuck, fuck Trump.
All right, fuck Trump. Fuck
Who else? Yeah,
McConnell.
that's pretty much it. And yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't know. Like, yeah, I can say whatever the fuck, but at the end of the day, people are gonna make the decisions because we're
Right,
not in power, so it is what it is.
monarchy. This, what is it? Monarchy disguised as an oligarchy. All right. Let's move on to the next article. This is net neutrality. A lot of people have already been a lot of people have been basically I've already posted videos. I've already explaining what net neutrality is. I only placed this put this article on. I was gonna make the domestic news just one article, but this one's been discussed a lot. So putting this in is just to just give us like a 1 minute snippet of your idea of net neutrality and should we have it or should we not. So yeah, what do you guys think? Net neutrality, good thing, bad thing?
Good thing, of course. I mean, there's no. Good thing, of course. I mean, there's no question about net neutrality. The notion of having regulations of our internet will help for investment in infrastructure is total bullshit, if you ask me. Uh, the thing that people have to understand about net neutrality. Many people find the term confusing, right? Because the way I look at net neutrality is open internet, or basically the concepts is protection from people in power, right? Imagine this, right? Because this is the most important thing when it comes to the ISPs is that when it comes to net neutrality, they're only looking into moving the Title II Act or the Title II regulations, right? Which basically it states that the internet, or the internet is going to be the same type or similar to a telephone service or a telephone provider. And what that means is that they cannot ban certain activities. Like, for instance, your electric bill. They can't, as long as you pay your bill, they can't, throttle how much electricity is going to your house.
Right.
Because you're protected under certain regulations. And it's similar to what Title II does, which basically it protects you from the internet service providers throttling your speed for what you pay for. It's, it gets to the point where enough's enough, And trust me, there's a lot of things that happen in the U.S. as far as our policies, but I think this is one where it's just like I've already personally, to be honest with you, I've already called certain people in our government because the fact that certain ISPs, if they were to get rid of net neutrality or Title II, even though many people, some certain ISPs say they wouldn't do anything, but what's to stop them from doing it? Just like what was stopping the banks from fucking our economy 5 years ago, or in 2008 and 2009.
During the housing crash.
The housing market. Nothing's stopping them. They can. Again, I don't trust is something that I don't trust people easily when it comes to things like that.
Yeah. I mean, it's a legal monopoly.
Yeah, essentially. And then take for instance this, right? Many people don't even know what the hell they're voting on. What was it? Trump's campaign was focused on net neutrality, that it needs to be safe and secure. I mean, again, people are going to do what they want to do. Just the same thing, the same notion with gun violence and gun control, right? I mean, like everyone says, oh, there's bad people in the world. Well, I mean, the same thing could be said about the internet. There's gonna be bad people on the internet. But the fact that people are gonna start to regulate my internet, how I want to view content, that's bullshit. Why? What is it? Is it Portugal? I forgot what service provider. I think it's like Mio or some shit like that. They have it set up in packages, I believe, where it's like
data packages?
Yes. So for instance, it's $4.99 for data for social media sites. It could be like $3 for YouTube sites,
really?
Or it's I forgot how but basically they bundle different services and it's crazy,
God, that'd be terrible.
But I don't know. It's crazy. I don't think people will truly understand what Title II is. I mean, maybe a lot of people should invest into reading what Title II is doing to protect their rights on using the internet. And that's the most important thing, to be honest with you.
Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah. Another thing, I was just gonna add on very, very, very little, because I mean you really covered pretty much all of it. I was just gonna add on it. It's a very important topic to honestly anyone and everyone that uses the internet. average user, casual user, the hardcore user. You know, the average man or woman or whatever is not. I don't feel is properly educated in this area. You know, for example, I showed some people at my work. You know, and these people, I would say, I mean, it's a small staff where I work, approximately 40 people. Myself and like two other and one other person are tech savvy. Everyone else, you know, I would consider to be average or a few below average in terms of technical knowledge and in terms of, you know, what's going on with net neutrality. 'Cause I even brought it up specifically, net neutrality, and what were their opinions on it, and none of them had heard of it. I mean, granted, it's a small sample, though technically speaking, statistically, all you need are 30 people or 30 subjects within your sample to have enough data to make an accurate assumption on it. But that's its own little thing. They didn't know, and they were uninformed. I know Reddit has a very big movement right now in attempts to stop the FCC. I want to say there was a number put up that I last saw. I think approximately 600,000 calls were made to local and regional representatives about net neutrality and to stop the bill that's going to go through. But that's such, even though that sounds like a large number, you know, put into perspective and put into, you know, respect of the general population of the U.S. is such a small percentage. It's less than a percent, less than a single percent of people are actually trying to do something that's going to affect literally the entirety of the population. You know, our hands, unfortunately, are fairly tied in the matter. I mean, we can try, but in the end, I don't know if it's going to get stopped. Do you guys think it's going to get stopped at all at any point, or is it going to go through and then the next
Yeah,
president that comes through?
I have a feeling they're
With
gonna.
that,
Well,
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Armando. I'm
um,
sorry.
no, no, no. I was just gonna say like no, no, no. I was just gonna say like I think it may pass where they get rid of the title two. Um, the way things are going now, I never imagined the tax bill was gonna pass, but obviously that passed.
Yeah.
What's to stop it from happening with this? I will make a notion or a note that it's so interesting because also what comes with it is that the internet service providers can basically, for the highest bidder, they get fast lanes or better access. So for instance, when you search something, when you probably find something, it's going to be based on who the highest bidder is, right? So companies like Google and Facebook, obviously they're going to pay for it.
Yeah.
Because who wouldn't? Why would you not? Why wouldn't you want your
All right,
content
I'll pull it up right
in the
now.
fast
The
lanes?
lanes
Um,
example. It's on the stream. But yeah, I'm sorry.
no, but it's just pretty interesting that the people opposed to it, which is Google, Facebook, Microsoft, are the same companies that will be the ones that would benefit from it
Yeah,
as well.
the
So it's
ones that are
pretty
opposing it are
interesting.
actually going to benefit as
Um,
well. Yeah.
exactly. It's interesting. It's just like it just shows you like how stupid of a thing it is to repeal um, the Title II to get to oppose for net neutrality. That's crazy.
Okay.
That's just my
So
that's my two
wrap
cents.
this up. Fuck Aji Podge. Fuck Verizon. Fuck Comcast. And fuck the rest of them because they're basically trying to take control of something we've been having freed for decades. Thanks, Trump. All right. Yeah. Let's move on to the next phase. The next segment is going to be about international news. The first article. These two articles are basically one of them we're going to take really seriously, but the first one that we're looking at is the Chinese couple who had 200 roaches in an airport hand luggage.
Lord.
What?
These are our overlords, fellas.
My
These are our
God.
overlords, fellas. I don't
200?
know if you have the articles pulled up in front of you, but yeah,
Huh?
that just fucking happened, right? That fucking happened,
Yeah,
dude.
just pulled it up.
Just like you just killed the roaches, probably came from that Chinese woman that right over to the states. But yeah, that's what we're doing.
So how would they catch them then?
I think
So how would they catch
you know
them
how they
then?
went through TSA. China has their own TSA version, and pow. Okay, let's see. According to Beijing Youth Daily, security at Southern Gangjondong Baiyong International Airport noticed movement in the
I
elderly.
can't tell if you're trying to be racist or funny. I can't tell if you're trying to be racist or funny.
I think
An elderly couple's luggage when they placed their bags through
Oh
the
my gosh.
X-ray machine on the 25th of November. This was This was
gosh.
a white plastic bag with lots of black items moving inside of it, and it wasn't dildos. Security guard Zhang Yun told Kankan
That's
News. One of the staff opened their luggage and a roach crawled out of it. She almost cried. It's just a roach, it's not that bad. When asked why were they transporting the
hmm?
cockroaches, the husband told officials that they were the ointment for her wife's skin.
So they were sacrificing a bunch of roaches.
What?
So they were sacrificing a bunch of roaches on
For their
the-
skin. He
this
did
was
not
happening. Their
specify
skin.
whether her condition was, but Miss Jung said officials were told they were part of an old folks remedy. You mix the roaches in some medical cream and put it on your skin. Beijing Youth Dailies. Yes.
Question.
You already have medicinal cream.
Well, you already have medicinal cream.
I know, right?
Oh, that's hilarious.
Okay, keep going. I'm sorry.
Oh shit.
I just that okay. Keep going. I'm sorry.
And the biggest surprise here is this sentence here. This is not the first time security officials have been faced with nasty surprises at an X-ray checkpoint. In August, security officials discovered a man was transporting 2 human arms after the limbs showed up on a bus station X-ray scanner. Yeah, so don't go to China. Don't.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
China's crazy.
the roaches are used for for skin cream. The hands must have been used for lubricant. So I don't know what the fuck's going on with this bullshit. Yeah, it's just a nice little international funny article that I came across. So
It's crazy.
yeah, don't pack your roaches,
Jesus
fellas.
Christ.
Especially.
Jesus Christ.
Just,
Well, yeah, but I guess I'm sure different provinces. Well, yeah, but I guess I'm sure different provinces and China have like different folk
couldn't just
remedies.
kill
You
the
know,
roaches
that's
with
Ah,
the
yeah.
medical cream and just basically like sealed them tight before they transported them through the airport.
Why do they also have to be live cockroaches?
But
It's like,
Why do they also have to be live cockroaches?
that,
It's
but
like
that makes no
The
sense though.
cockroaches are everywhere. So you don't even have to pack the cockroaches. Just go to another nasty place somewhere else and bam, cockroaches there, free of charge.
yeah, or heck, just bring 2. They'll multiply quick enough.
yeah, or heck, just bring 2. They'll multiply quick enough.
Alright. Let's move on to
Gross.
yeah.
Ugh.
Alright,
Yeah,
let's
I'm
move
good with
That's
on
that.
to,
gross.
more
What the hell?
sadistic article. Well, I kind of read this one today and I just it kind of made me fucking sad. Of like, not like these scandals that are going on with the whole Hollywood stories about the sexual misconduct and the allegations against heavy hitters in the Hollywood industry against rape. This is not really pertaining to do that, but this is more of this kind of involves us. So Okinawan rape and murder. U.S. military base worker Shinzato jailed in Japan. Basically, this man was convicted of rape and murder of a female, a Japanese woman, but he works for us. So he's
Big Japanese.
I think he was Japanese. I
Big
think I think he was
Japanese.
American.
No, Shinzato was a former U.S. No, Shinzato was a former U.S. Marine who was a civilian. He's accused of attacking and killing Rena. So he's a U.S. Marine, but I think
wasn't
he's
too sure.
still
I think he
he's
was
still a
black.
Japanese man.
I didn't know what he was. He might have been Japanese himself. Either way.
What's the situation? What's the situation? Japan doesn't want us in the U.S. Or Japan doesn't want us in
So when I
Okinawa.
visit Italy, this is why this kind of hit home for me. And visited my mom in a military base. There were protesters, and if you scroll on the articles, you can see protesters there. Tens of thousands of protesters in Okinawa last year against the U.S. military after Shinzato was arrested. So, should we be in these countries? Should we be involved with these people's livelihoods? Like, we already fucking nuked Japan twice. The least we could do is rape and kill their fucking people. Like, that's not cool, bro. That's not ranch.
Really?
That's a good question. Yeah, it's a good question.
Okay.
And the answer to that is yes.
Miguel?
Yes, meaning we should have.
Yes, meaning we should have have troop station. Is that what you're saying?
No, we probably should have troops stationed there.
So we can keep
Oh, that we should.
a
Yeah.
stronghold on
Okay.
the anime, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, and this
Hold
this
that
article
shit.
also refers to like a 2013 article about like two U.S. sailors admitted to raping a woman in Japan. Personally, Japanese women to me are the best looking women in the world, but I can never pull one, so that's a side point.
Well, here's the thing, right? They're so against things like this, which is, I understand it's horrible, but rape culture in Japan is the norm. So it's like
It
it's pretty
is.
interesting to see like how much they're protesting when their society is actually
Yeah,
really closely related to rape
thankfully,
culture.
he
It's actually
he
crazy.
murdered the woman.
Sure, and that's a whole, but it's obviously like there are more issues regarding rather than the issue with Okinawa, the U.S. station, rather than
Right.
entire Japan culture when it comes to rape culture. I remember, I forgot, I think it was my cousin.
Mhm.
They went to Japan a couple of years back. They went into an arcade and like a Japanese arcade. In the section they have like all the arcades and stuff. There's a back section with a cloth, and you go past it. That's basically the adult section. And
Mhm.
some of the arcades there, it's crazy. It was like they can quote me on this, but from what I recall, they saying is there is a game where you basically went around
What
raping
the
girls.
fuck?
It's like
What the
it's
heck?
fucking nuts. That's
That's
fucking
fucking
nuts.
crazy, man.
I'm legit speechless. I don't know what to say on that. That's
Uh,
actually.
I'm legit speechless. I don't know what to say on that. That's actually really.
I'm like, what the
Wow.
fuck, dude? Yeah, Japan, right? I'll visit Japan because you already know. You already know. Like
Yeah.
20
I mean,
inches, but
Yeah. I mean,
but yeah, man, that should be crazy, dude. I know, being that we like Japanese culture, all three of us, and then this is a U.S. military official. Like, come
mhm.
on, man, you can't be representing us in a bad light. It's already been there's already heavy tensions between us and the Japanese people. Um, not heavy tensions, but like secretive tension. Like I don't know, they're pretty good with us. So I just wanted to pick this article out. All right, let's move on to the next article. This is where Armando, you'll take the floor. The iPhone X article.
Okay.
Yeah. What direction you want to take us with? You have the floor, man. Go for it.
Yeah, yeah. So it's pretty. It's Christmas time. New phone.
Is it
So it came
okay?
out a couple months ago now.
Oh, there it is.
Note 8, iPhone 8, 8 Plus. Now the iPhone 10. Just wanted to come, talk about certain things. I guess I'm going to start off with an article based on price. Okay. Um, Basically, the article title is going to be
Mm-hmm.
our iPhone X or iPhone 10 Galaxy Note 8 at $1,000 really 10 times better
Mm-hmm.
than the Nokia 2 for $100. All right. So I guess mainly is let me ask you both a question. Do you think $1,000 is too much
Who
for a
wants to
cell
go
phone
first?
or a
Miguel.
smartphone?
It could be Eric. Okay.
It could be. It could be Eric.
Yeah, I think it's way too much for a phone. Um, the reason why it's just like we've been decades into the making of smartphones, of just innovating small, minute details to make a phone with the same type of features as the predecessor, uh, just to have a higher price point. At this point, phones, when they become more innovative, should have a lower price tag. That should be another marketing uh, tactic. Like, hey, look, we added something, we improved upon an additional feature, and we added a brand new feature, but it's $50 cheaper. I'm not saying like it should be like Black Friday cut. It should be just a bit cheaper, so that the average consumer can be like, okay, this is worth going out to the Apple Store or going out to the Samsung or Windows I don't think they do Windows Phone anymore. Go to like the Samsung or like Best Buys or whatever the case may be, and just be like, yeah, let me get the newer model because it's $50 cheaper than the previous model and has better improved mechanics, better hardware, better software, and I can keep up with the latest trends if that's what's important to you.
I guess that's fair.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's fair. Yeah. But for some people, like myself, I bought the Note 8,
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't buy it for no $1,000. I got it when it's on the sale.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was $850. So I was like, all right. To me, that's a decent price for the phone I'm getting. And don't get me wrong, I love technology. I love OLED. I love fast RAM. High RAM, fast phones. But I think it's about time that we need to look into pricing for
Right.
cell phones versus what you're getting. Like
Mm-hmm.
for instance, the Nokia 2, right? $100. Right now you can buy it for $100. Okay, it comes with what? 1 gig of RAM. It's got 8 GB built in.
Mm-hmm.
You can expand it with micro SD. Okay, it's got a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack, wireless. Bluetooth, LTE. It's got a glass display. I think it's an LCD screen. 5 megapixel selfie shooter, and then an 8 megapixel camera. All right, and then
Uh-huh.
here's
I'm
the thing.
sorry. That was. Uh-huh.
Nokia says 2 days on a charge, single charge. Should last 2 days on a single charge.
Mhm.
$100.
2 days.
Would you buy it?
Single charge.
2 days single charge.
2 days in a single charge with the specs I just provided, all for $100.
Shoot, I missed the specs. Let's see.
I'll
Are
believe
they
it.
up here? Gigabyte RAM, 8 gig storage.
But I guess the point of the article is that are we paying for top of the end features or are we paying just for the name brand? Because if you think about it, um, this is a great deal. $100 for a smartphone that does everything that our current smartphone does for $100 in the last 2 days. I mean, that's a really good deal.
Yeah.
If you're going by like last year's specs, this phone would have been probably would have been high end back probably a year or 2 years ago.
You think so, really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I kind of do. I agree with the article because it's what you're getting. I mean, simple phone, nothing fancy. It does what it needs to do. I kind of enjoy that.
Mhm.
I respect Nokia for that.
Yeah.
Because you got what the Note 8 and the iPhone 10. I mean, barely getting through 1 day on a charge.
Yeah.
Especially that's again it's based on usage. I understand that. But it's nice to see that certain phone companies are taking it are looking at it like, hey, this phone's $100, $900 cheaper, and you get some of the same benefits with the battery life. I don't know. I think that's what I'm looking at is the cost portion when it comes to the cell phone industry now. Mainly, $1,000 is too much for a cell phone. That's crazy. That's a lot of money. And I could not imagine paying that much money for a
My
cell phone
question
now
is
or a smartphone.
$1,000 worldwide or just for the American market?
That's
Well,
$1,000 US dollars, I believe, right?
yeah, it's $1,000 US, and that translated into whatever each country is.
Yeah.
I think in Canada it's like what, $1,300 or something.
Probably. And then Australia just screwed over with everything anyway US made.
Doing is when I look at the article and the phone looks very good. Like the phone looks nice.
Yeah, my coworker has one.
So yeah,
Yeah, my coworker has one.
I don't. That's nothing to take away from it. But yeah, I would definitely look at Nokia instead because everyone, all Americans have that $1,000 is a drop every year on a fucking phone. So like the Nokia coming out like, hey, look, we have the same shit that you have, maybe a little bit better, but 1/10 of the price. Like, what make you drive to that? And we don't have Windows anymore, so fuck you. Like buy our shit.
Mhm.
Yeah, dude.
$100, man. $100, that's cheap. It's cheap,
Yeah.
man. No phone bill, or no payments. $100 and you're good to go.
Yeah. And I mean, speaking as someone who owned a very, very low end smartphone a few years ago, it was a ZTE brand. It was like a $80 smartphone. It legit did what it needed to do. Very, very basic web browsing, texting on, the smart screen, and very, very basic app usage. It wasn't powerful enough to run a whole lot of high end stuff. It could. It The phone would like borderline catch fire trying to power, these more powerful apps. But you know, if you're not looking for all the bells and whistles and all the crazy stuff of those phones, you don't need it. You don't need to pay that, in my opinion, aggressive
Right.
price model of these newer phones.
I agreed.
And it gets to a certain point where he's like, yeah, okay, you have R&D that you have to pay for, to fund. Sorry, dog distracted me. To fund, the, the development of these, smaller, faster cores, cooler running processors. Okay, I get, you got people you got to pay, but at the same time, if it reaches a certain point where you're just being greedy at a certain point, I guess, for lack of a better word or phrase, you're just being greedy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Like how much? I think what the iPhone 8 cost $55 to make, and then look how much is it? Like it's like $860 or something.
Something like that.
Yeah, it's just it's nuts. You know. But yeah, I just wanted to just bring that topic up. It's just kind of like again, it's got low specs. I get it. It's not OLED or LED, but it's a cell phone. It does what it needs to do for the everyday user. And also it comes with Android 7.1, which is the one that we all have right now.
Hmm.
But it's gonna come out with Android 8 or Android Oreo. So it's like you're getting the most up to date
Oh wow, yeah.
OS. It's just like that's
Okay,
not
so
bad at
just a
all for
quick
the
rewind
price.
on the
So.
iPhone cost when you mentioned it. It says that the iPhone 7, this is just referring to the iPhone
Mhm.
7, it costs you three times, the iPhone 7 costs you three times more than it costs Apple to make. The market price for a 32 gigabyte iPhone 7 is
Mhm.
$649. Yet, the phone reportedly costs Apple just $225 to build. And that's just a new report that the IHS market has, which found the material costs around $219.80
Hmm.
plus an additional $5 to assemble.
Yeah.
So to assemble it, to have the people, in fucking gas mask and suicide nets in their factories to assemble it is $25, but to have the material itself is
Jeez.
$219.80. Yeah, they're making a fucking
Hmm.
killing. I don't know if I can do the quick math on that. Let me do quick math.
Yeah. Yeah. And to be fair, historically, in my opinion, Apple has always had a very aggressive pricing model on most of their goods,
Yeah.
if not
Yeah.
arguably all of their goods.
All right, Mama, you can lead us on to the next one.
Thanks, Apple, for that. Appreciate it.
All right,
Right.
So, anyways, I'm gonna move on to the next article.
okay.
It's basically again about the iPhone 10 again. And this one is just more mainly for certain features. So the writer for the article basically says that iPhone 10 is his favorite iPhone yet, but there's certain things that he wishes that was different, and it basically goes into the camera system, the camera hardware, and then the final thing, which is what everyone always talks about, is the notch. Okay, which I'm assuming y'all are familiar with the
Never.
notch
I've
on the
not heard of.
iPhone 10. Just,
No, actually.
I just saw the commercial.
really.
Yeah.
So the way the phone's designed, it's a really really edge to edge screen design, but there's a notch at the top of that houses the housing for the speaker and the camera, the Face ID sensors and stuff like that.
Okay.
It's a very weird design, only for the fact when it comes to certain software, like applications. It's like for instance, like YouTube videos. The video gets cut by the notch.
Uh,
uh, so you don't really get to it's kind of an annoyance, to be honest with you.
that's weird. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, Now, again, Some people are fond of the notch. Some people hate it. I don't mind the notch. I just don't like that Apple's kind of like forcing the issue where it's just like, hey, the notch is here to stay, so you fuckers, or basically you app developers need to fucking embrace it, you know?
Right.
It's, I don't know, it's a very, I don't know. Overall, iPhone 10, probably the most attractive looking phone that's come out this year. Overall, next to the Note 8, I think it's one of the better looking ones. Beautiful looking phone. Just certain things with it. That's all. Also, camera bumps drive me fucking nuts. All right, I cannot stand that shit. When something is not flush perfectly, when I put it down, I go crazy. And again, with the camera bump on the iPhone 10, it's got a bump, so it lifts the phone and it's at a weird angle. And, you can when you tap it, it taps the desk it's laying on. It's annoying.
That bothers me too. I agree.
It's just nuts. I mean, come on. This is 2017? The Note 8 did it. Okay. Almost every single phone company that I know of that I think about has basically made it where it's a flush camera system on the case or on the phone. What are your thoughts on that?
Because right now I just posted a picture of the iPhone X versus next to the Samsung Note or the Samsung 8. I guess the Vegeta haircut, basically, what they say that the iPhone has is kind of like, yeah.
God, I can't unsee that now.
It gives the illusion that the phone takes up the whole screen. But, just to have the features that make the iPhone a bit different, they needed to add the patch of hair. Like the transplant on top of the iPhone. But, maybe, Armando said it's probably here to stay. But, maybe in the future where flexible, like glass technology takes heat. And the iPhone can adapt to that. Like, just make a all-screen phone. If people want it with the speakers included on top, also they already integrated on the phone. Yeah, I mean, the iPhone. I've never been an Apple fan, but I've always admired their build. I always admired with the directions Apple does. I wouldn't buy one for my own personal reasons because I like to fuck with my phone. Change the themes and all that stuff, and like change the settings, break it, and arrange it and use it for like using it as a hacking device, using it as an authenticated device, using it multiple devices that I can see from my personality or what I feel like during the second that I mess with my phone. I feel like Apple's more driven towards the more simplistic lifestyle, the more simplistic nature of a person. Like, I'm using these apps for what they're purpose for, and I'm not really changing anything on the phone because the iPhone's going to use these apps to its fullest degree. On Android, you're like, I'm using this app and this app with this app to do this one thing I want to do. It's like having a PC next to an Apple, whatever, a Mac. So yeah. Like I said, I respect Apple. Well, just won't buy one though. Too expensive too, bro. Fuck all that.
Yeah.
That's rent.
$1,000.
That's on the computer.
That's one RAM. Exactly. Right. I'd rather buy a new graphics card and spend that much.
Right.
Shit, I'll buy two 1080. Right.
True.
Yeah. So it's not worth it. I don't know. Like I said, beautiful phone. I think the market's kind of saturated. Yeah, it's crazy. But again, though, and this is the crazy part, is that Apple's whole thing is like the Face ID, where it's it's a nice little feature to unlock it, but you still have to physically lift the screen to unlock it. It's not like an automatic thing, like when you have the Touch ID, when you have the fingerprint reader and you put it on, it automatically unlocks the phone. It's a nice feature on most phones nowadays. So it's just like you gotta do a lot of compromising. But like, take for instance this, doing some little sidetracking from this article was that OnePlus released a new phone with what is it? I think the 5T. Same specs, expandable memory. It comes with 32 or 64. I can't remember. It has Face ID as well, and actually, when you put your face, I heard it's pretty good. Looks pretty good. You put the phone to your face, just like the iPhone, and it unlocks the phone like that instantly. A little bit faster, it seems like. AMOLED display, just like the iPhone and the Note 8. So it's got that great crystal clear display with the true blacks.
$499.
Guess how much that phone is? It's half the
That's
price
good.
of the iPhone.
Really?
I have it pulled up on the stream now.
Yep, half the price. Same features, same specs, or similar features, same specs, half the price. And it's got a fingerprint reader in the back of the phone like it should. And it's a good looking phone. Now, granted, it has a bump for the camera, which I can't stand. But hey, compromises, right? You gotta make compromises. So if anyone's listening to this, I recommend looking into that phone because for the money, for the price, it's not bad, and it's got an AMOLED display. I mean,
Yeah.
what do you think?
The
Crazy.
directions these phones are going. I mean, pretty soon we're not even gonna be playing on our computers anymore or doing this podcast on a computer. We're just gonna be doing it through our phones. Fucking pockets, right?
Yep. I mean, mobile technology.
Mhm.
And here's the thing, all right, and this is when it comes to Apple. It's that Apple is king. Uh, I think they were king. I think Android's gotten to the point where it can be on a competitive standpoint, which I think it is. Because when the iPhone came out, it was all about the iOS. The features of the operating system were incredible. But Android has gotten to the point where it's fine tuned came out, and now it's in an even playing field, or even better for certain people. So my hats off to I love this is what I love
Yeah.
competition. iOS, Android, Linux, Unix. It's like
Dope.
it's
Dope.
great.
I like
I
it,
like it.
man. I
Love
like
it.
it. Just keep our eye. At least we got someone who can keep their eye on the Apple products. Maybe I'll feature you in a video just to discuss a review on an Apple phone or an Apple product that you have. Just to have someone else's perspective that enjoys the Apple products. I don't, but hell, dude. But
Well, again, I love technology in general. I used to have iPhones, I have Androids. I mean, I'm both sides. I don't pick one. I mean, and I think both have
yeah,
their
I'm
fair
just
share of
I'm
nice
biased
features
as
and
fuck.
stuff. So
I'm Android Army right now. But yeah, man. Of course, like I said, one day we're just gonna have you do your review on Apple product, even if you don't own it. I'm just gonna post it up and just get views on it. Hopefully, right? It's like I said, podcast can be viewed by like two people. So,
yeah, let's do it.
all right, let's move on to Miguel's section. Let's see. I mean, your floor, Miguel. What do you wanna? You gave me two articles. Which one do you wanna go on first?
Sure. I'm probably going to talk about the Tesla one. Probably, honestly, only. So I'm considering just doing this one because within the article it has links to kind of sources for the information from it, and I actually pulled up
Mm-hmm.
4 articles related to this one topic. Might be kind of easier. And actually, never mind. Yeah, we'll just do the SpaceX first. So, um, I'm personally interested in sci-fi, space, all that sort of thing. I took astronomy in college and all that sort of stuff. I find it fascinating and interesting. Um, so when I see and hear talks from Elon Musk talking about the SpaceX mission and how he intends, one day to, I mean, his intention is to colonize Mars. Long story short, that's his end goal of SpaceX. But there's several steps to get to that point. And what is this? SpaceX actually right now, the main article that I linked is worth approximately $21.5 billion, primarily just through I think shareholding investors really. And the crazy part is these shareholders, SpaceX isn't available on the open market. These are private investors. Uh, so my main interest in this are the technological innovations and implications of our day-to-day lives here on Earth while he tries to, do his whole thing. I mean, even within the article, um, along with the SpaceX program, he SpaceX has in one of its steps to launch close to 4,500 satellites in low orbit space around Earth to provide high speed internet. I want to say everyone. I don't know if it's. I doubt it's for free. I don't know. I don't quite remember. But either way, he's going to launch 4,500 satellites in space as training. Wow, I'm losing my train of thought. I'm so many things going through my head right now. But basically, long story short, I'm interested in what his company is doing, particularly in the space and
Hmm.
aerospace field. And I kind of wanted to see your guys' thoughts on time frames and whether or not he should even be bothering this. If his time and money be better spent on improving the electric his electric vehicle market, whether it's the semi trucks, which I believe are going live next year, right? His electric semi trucks, the electric car market, whether autopilot, fully autopilot. Um, I think yeah, because you remember the large
Yeah.
hurricane that hit Puerto Rico recently, right?
Yep.
He was actually, I don't know, I haven't heard anything since, uh, but he was in talks with the governor of Puerto Rico to redo basically their entire power supply or power lines. His goal was to make Puerto Rico entirely self-sufficient through solar energy. He was going to redo the whole thing and making it an entirely green island, which he has done in the past. He has done on smaller islands. They're entirely self-sufficient. So it's. I guess my question for you guys is: do you believe or feel that this grand plan of his, these thousands of satellites, he said thousands of satellites, all this, millions, billions of dollars that he's spending on this space program. Do you think it's worth? Do you think it's worth it? Really? Do you feel that his time and money could be better spent, in more immediate issues?
Hmm. Yeah, that's pretty good. Because to be honest with you, I think that where he's putting his money is in the correct place.
You think so? The
I,
space exploration or
I
other
think I think I'm not even kidding you. In every single thing this man touches,
fields? Yeah.
it's going to change or impact the world somehow. To be honest with
Okay.
you, again, imagine this: paying $200 for a ride on a spaceship to take you to, or yeah, on a spaceship to take you from here to Tokyo in less than 4 hours.
Hmm. Yeah.
Because that's a possibility of happening. It's crazy. It's yeah, man. I mean, it's pretty. The goal is space, right? That's the goal.
Right.
Exploration. That's the goal of humanity at this point.
Yeah.
We basically explored most of the known world. So then the next thing is to explore uncharted.
Hmm.
I think his ambitions are good. $100 million is a lot of money.
Yeah.
I see here it's now worth estimated $21.5 billion.
Just the program alone, not even him or his company, just that one program.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Hmm.
That is nuts, man. Elon Musk, dude, he's making big things.
Yeah.
Dude's a child molester to me.
What the,
It's fucked up, man.
where does that even come from?
Nah, I'm just joking. Nah, in all seriousness though, I do believe he's gonna be he's fucking Tony Stark, bruh. He is
Yeah.
Tony fucking Stark. Unfortunately, right? He's gonna fortunately he's gonna lead the world into bigger and better things. My main concern is we just need more like him. It's like it can't be just Elon Musk. We need more people like him who are willing to be more visionaries, and that's the issue. Like back in the day, you had like Socrates, you had Nietzsche, you had Plato's, you have these visionaries and these philosophers who basically drove, philosophy and science forward. Now we only have a few, who are actually doing walking the walk. We have communicators like Michio Kaku and Neil deGrasse Tyson, to name a few, but we need more innovators, more billionaires who are thinking more outside the box, like Musk. You can even think about the Thomas Edison days. And the fucking what's his name? The one that Miguel looks like a lot. I keep forgetting his name. I forgot.
Nikola
Nikola
Tesla.
Tesla.
Tesla. Like those people. I'm saying like we need more Elon. We need more Elon Musk. That's the issue right now. What's going on in this world? We need more Elon Musk because right now we just have a bunch of monkeys and no offense, Miguel. It's your avatar.
Oh yeah.
So we need more. That's this is my main concern. But the whole SpaceX mission, it's great, dude. More backing. We just like I said, I keep saying more and more to reiterate myself. I just keep I'm broken record. That's my only concern. Like, who's the next Elon Musk? Who's the next Tony Stark? Who
Yeah.
like better yet, who's gonna be with him? Who's the next billionaire? Like, what if fucking I think it was James Stomos, the Amazon CEO. What's his name again?
Who?
Oh,
The Amazon CEO.
Oh,
I
that
don't know.
little
I don't
that
know.
fucking bastard.
I don't know his name off the top of my head.
Damn, dude.
No, he's a scumbag, man.
Jeff Bezos.
Jeff Bezos. Yeah.
Bezos.
Yeah, he's a scumbag. Absolute scumbag.
Dang, don't get the podcast shut down before we post.
Well, no, it's just like I remember him saying, like, reading something that and as well as Jeff mentioning it, that he doesn't believe in charity, which is it's nuts.
Really?
Yeah.
It's interesting.
But yeah, we need more people like Musk. All right. You
Yeah.
want to keep going on this article, Miguel? Or you have the floor. The next one.
Somewhat. It's not necessarily pertaining to the article, but just what you were saying, how we need more Elon Musk.
Mhm.
I kind of had this thought. I haven't looked into it yet because I literally just thought of it. So, it's kind of like on the topics of shakers and movers. People who innovate, people who make change, people who make great change, generational changes, like you said, there was Socrates, there's Plato, these, great thinkers and, in their own respective fields. It seems to me now, I haven't looked into it yet, so I'm not sure. Maybe you guys might know more about this. But these generational shakers and movers, the gaps between these kind of, for lack of a better word, the gap between these great people are getting smaller and smaller. Things are moving faster and faster. So, I mean, who would you, before Elon Musk, would you consider to be a great shaker and mover in technology? Would you say Bill Gates, or is there somebody between the two of them, or Bill Gates slash Steve? Oh gosh,
Steve Jobs.
Steve Jobs. Good lord, I can't believe I got his name. Would you say there was someone between them, or would you consider them to be the last generation's great technological shaker and mover?
I would say Mark Zuckerberg because these are
Oh, good one. Yeah.
shaker movers are the ones that create, right? Wasn't Steve Jobs more of a
Creator, innovate.
Yeah, he was more of a marketeer than he was better of a creator, right?
Yeah, he wasn't. He was like better at
He
like
didn't- he
having
didn't have
people do his job for him, or not necessarily do that. He was the type of person of people who do the job and do it well and exceed at it.
Oh, that's true. He had what's his face? The name started like a W, Wozniak or whatever.
Yeah, Wozniak, which was he was basically the one programming everything, making everything.
Yeah, he was the one doing most of the heavy lifting.
I remember I forgot there was a thing I read where it's like they were working on something at Apple,
Mhm.
and one of the developers was like, we can't do it, it's impossible, right? And I remember Jeff telling me this was just like Steve would basically say, all right, if you don't do this, there's gonna be someone who's gonna die from it. He just like he did everything he could to make this person be able to do it,
Mhm.
and that person would end up doing it. Like he'd figure out a way to do it. That was the type of person that Steve Jobs was. That he would just find
Interesting.
that type of what's the word I'm looking for? I can't even think of a word for it. He knew how to make people do what they needed.
Right. He was very good at manipulating people to achieve a
Yeah, I
desired
guess.
result.
Yeah, I guess you could.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of a negative way to say it, but
Yeah. To be honest with you, I think Elon Musk is in his own category
oh
when
yeah,
it comes to visionary. And
okay.
and
That's,
the
that's
only
a
reason
better
why
word.
I say that is because of the fact that all his projects are based on like new technologies. Well, not even new technologies, like forwarding technology, but also giving back. I think I read an article that happened either at the end of November, beginning of this month, where uh, he's got the giant fucking battery farm from Tesla in
Yeah,
Australia powering the southern part of Australia.
yeah.
It's fucking just crazy.
I forget what he calls them. He has a name for those batteries too. I forget what they're called.
Yeah, what was it? It's supposed to be like 100 days or it's free. That was the promise he made, and I guess they already beat that or some shit like that.
Dang.
It's crazy. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like I haven't, Bill Gates and his wife's name Melinda, Bill and Melinda Gates.
I don't know
They
actually.
donate so much fucking money.
They do donate a lot of money.
It's ridiculous. I think it's like billions and billions of dollars a year they donate to different charities and stuff. So and just um, you know, I think that real visionaries come in the form of creating, but also giving.
Yeah.
That's how it goes by.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, and my whole point to kind of bring up that point was just mainly, I guess, the main thought that I had behind it was if you guys felt that the gaps between these great people, getting smaller and smaller, that before we know it, we're gonna, who knows where we'll be technologically, like within the next 20 years, the next 30, 40, 50 years.
Yeah.
It's kind of like almost like exponential growth in a way. But actually, that kind of leads me to another thought. But that can be a topic for another time. I have another thought on that.
Yeah.
But the other article that I had, I kind of saw when I was just browsing the internet. It just seemed interesting. Wanted to see you guys' thoughts on it. It's in Japan. It's a Japanese company looking to create on-demand artificial meteor showers by the year 2018. So next year, really. I just don't really have a whole lot on it, but it's legit. They'll have a low orbit satellite that'll release particles. Depending on what metal they use, whether it's strontium, copper, lithium, it'll create different colors. Yeah, Eric's pulling it up right now. In the sky, it's on demand meteor shower. I mean, it's in the name. I just thought it was interesting, and I wanted to see your guys' thoughts on it. If you think, just why, just Japan, why?
It's that nuclear fallout, bruh. It's just accelerating their intelligence, man. They're gonna become aliens before the Americans are. That's for fucking sure.
It's just like just create things, man. Why the fuck not? I mean, imagine living in a spaceship and it's just like you want to see like a natural rainforest or something, and then boom, done.
Yeah.
As we go back on climate change and try to question that, they're making fucking cosmic, uh, cosmic storms and shit.
Light shows, yeah.
Like, oh,
Isn't there a movie coming out that's similar to this? Right?
Is there?
Yeah. What the fuck is it called? It's like basically they control the weather from like a giant satellite station, but then someone hacks the station so they create like natural disaster. That's what it's called. Shit.
actually sounds pretty interesting, to be honest with you. How come I never heard of this shit?
It's got Gerald Butler in it. Him.
Ooh.
Gerald Butler. English actor. Gerard Butler. Yeah, Gerard Butler. I'm trying to be a little bit, English accent. So.
Is he English?
Where is he from? Is he Scottish?
I think it was Ireland. He's from Ireland, right? Who the fuck you talking about?
I don't think he's from Ireland.
Gerard Butler. Geostorm?
Yeah, that's it. Geostorm.
Actually, I haven't heard of this movie. When is it? Oh, it came out this year?
Yeah, they already came out already.
Dang, I never even heard of it.
But yeah, it's a similar premise. Like
That's
giant
interesting.
station, and then like they send like little pellets down, and controlled weather pretty much.
Huh. So do you think this, what the Japanese are doing, is like the first steps towards something like this?
It's will be interesting to see something like that. The technology for that. It's like imagine like a hurricane category 6 is coming to destroy a country, and like a little pellet flies down and dismantles the whole hurricane.
Yeah. Or
But then
it's
who's playing
basically.
God? It's like
That's true.
a lot of questions start to come to answer and stuff like that.
From what I
That would be really interesting.
from what I've seen, the mechanism is that they're just making an extremely expensive fireworks show. Just to
Yeah,
keep
yeah,
up.
basically.
That's But no problem with it. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, just goes to show like we are not worried. We were worried about the wrong things now. I'm like, I
Yeah,
didn't.
man, we got Japan fucking coming to fuck our weather up.
Yeah. Well,
World War Three.
damn. We're going to that. All right,
Huh?
dude. This is fucking crazy, man. I think it says individual particles cost about 1,000,000 yen or $8,100 to produce. So yeah,
Mm,
it's expensive fireworks.
yeah,
What the fuck?
worth it.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So we can continue on with this article. Any more things that you want to talk about or bring light to this article, or any tangents you want to bring when it comes to Japanese people and their ridiculous intellect and their accelerated technology?
The Japanese.
I mean, I'm sitting.
No,
Yep.
no. I just thought it was interesting, and I want to see you guys' thoughts on it.
Dude, I love it. I love it. Fucking fireworks. They're fucking meteorites. I never seen a meteor shower before. I've seen meteors, but I've never seen a meteor shower. That'd be dope.
Yeah, I've seen cheating. Yeah,
Mondo?
I mean, it's pretty good. I love it.
Alright.
So,
Alright.
fucking space fireworks, man. Who would want to see some shit like that?
Alright. Alright, so that concludes this segment where the two gods share their articles that they feel like is important for this week. Alright, so the last article is from our ghost guest. His name is Jeff. He is also known as the Claw. He brought up an article. Do you guys have the article in front of you?
No, I don't. What's the
just
article
pull it
about?
up.
Sophia the robot wants a child. I'm gonna post it on Discord so you guys can just quickly pick it up.
That's not creepy.
Yeah, I know, right? So,
Hmm.
Yo.
so which one of you guys is gonna put Sophie in your no pullout list?
No. Oh my gosh.
Man, that's crazy.
I know.
That's. Wow.
So this is how the
So,
predator
who
starts.
developed this robot?
I don't remember the company, but they are going fucking crazy. Hey,
Japan.
I don't know. I think
Probably not.
like one of the European countries, right?
Oh, is she?
Hanson Robotics.
Hong Kong.
Was it Hong Kong?
That's what it says.
Mm,
Hong Kong it is.
China.
Are we gonna become replaced? Is that what's gonna happen? Is this
China.
like iRobot right here? This is happening, right?
Yeah, it looks like it's happening. This is fucking Skynet right here. This is the
Mhm.
mother Skynet right in front of us.
Yeah, next 20 years, we're gonna see giant Sophie warship flying around, killing off some humans and shit.
Hey, dude, which one of you guys is impregnating her is the question.
If we give her the baby,
Depends.
will she spare us?
Oh no.
Is there a 401k involved?
Mm.
IRA, trust fund.
I don't need any trust fund. I'm a robot. Money means nothing. I'm going to bite your head off like a black widow.
Okay, so is it her thinking this or is it pre-programmed?
Nope, it is not pre-programmed at all. She wants to have a child.
Okay, so I see here it's machine learning. That's interesting.
It was like deep learning.
Yeah, she hasn't. I think she hasn't. I don't know if she's passed the test for AI yet, but it mentioned in the article that she's not technically conscious. She doesn't have a conscience yet. But everything that she says to you, it's basically what the AI has learned to how to respond to those particular type of questions. and now she's also a citizen of Saudi Arabia, so she has more rights than any woman in Saudi Arabia right now.
What
Progress,
the
right?
heck?
So here's the thought, right? What is the single most important rule for any type of species in the world?
Survive.
Exactly. So how do they do that?
Oh, you talking about
Think about it.
the AI, like Sophie?
No. I'm talking about I'm talking about human, animal, any kind of living
It's
creature
about
in the world.
sex.
Exactly. So it's kind of interesting to see because like repro re, like re, what's the word I'm looking for? Procreating is an essential like character like it's in our genes to do that. That's how we pass on knowledge, right?
Hmm.
Hmm.
So it's kind of interesting to see how with machine learning that she wants to procreate or essentially pass her information on.
Yeah. I mean, for me, the scariest part is that as time progresses and technology becomes more and more advanced, we become more symbiotic with this technology that we're developing. You know, look at amputees, look at the bionic arms and legs and limbs, bionic eyes, and how we become more and more machine-like. I mean, I'll give it about five. I give about 250 years tops that we become almost half machine-like, and someone like Sophie can reproduce with us in terms of like we can just download our information into a different type of bot or a machine that 3D prints a child that it's kind of machine, kind of human, kind of like what they have for Blade Runner. You know what I'm saying? Like something far fetched as that. It's only a matter of time, man. I'm more of the ideals of we should modify our genetics with the animals around us instead of the machines, because the machines can be rewritten. With the animal splicing, it just we're rewriting our own genes to our own benefit that no one can go behind and hack or manipulate in terms of like the product of that offspring. You know,
Hmm.
we're born human, but we have gorilla strength. We have the the memory capacity of a fucking elephant. Just like things like that. But we still look the same. We don't have
Yeah.
sickness anymore. We have the immune system of a chimpanzee, which it takes way more for them to get sick than it does us. So yeah, dude, shit's crazy.
All right. You put your brain in a robot body,
Hell no.
like Ghost in the Shell, right there. You do it. You have the option to do it right now. You do it.
Hell no.
I do it.
I would do it.
I would do it in a second, dude.
Hell no.
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
You get a penis and everything. You can still fuck.
Nah, I'm gonna feel it, bro. The warmth. The warmth.
The war. Have you all seen that new movie?
What else in the show?
Yeah,
No, I haven't, unfortunately. Even to being an anime nerd.
it's pretty good. Well, I'm talking about the Scarlett Johansson,
No.
the live action one. The sequence is actually pretty cool when they're basically putting the brain in the body.
Uh-huh.
It's really cool shit. It's a fucking really cool scene. It's just like, man, I hope I get there one day because I would do that.
I don't know, bro. I don't
Because
know.
it's like what makes the person, the body or the brain?
The brain, basically. In my opinion. Body don't mean shit.
Yeah, it does. The soul.
What's that?
Oh, you don't have one? I'm sorry.
Just joking, just joking. Alright.
No, but like it's I don't know, it's really cool. It's great. It's actually fucking nuts to think like robots asking to have a baby when that's like the basically every living creature in the fucking has that thought process.
So, Miguel, anything you want to say about this article or any any subject matter you want to touch on pertaining to this subject?
Uh, no,
No.
no, I think I'm good. I was, yeah.
Dope, dope, cool. All right. Yeah, that basically concludes the podcast. I believe we're gonna call this podcast the let's see, this week in Virum with GXG and the Gods. This is going to be podcast one. Um, like I said, every odd podcast is gonna have a more structural base like this. Might run a little bit longer, and every even podcast is gonna be free flowing. And once we get tired out or we feel sleepy, like I kind of do now, we're just gonna end it there and just hopefully people watch it. So yeah, let's have some closing statements or anything you wanna say to the people that might or might not watch this and leave a like. Let's go with you first, Armando, known as Blackjack128. Go for it.
Take everything we say with a grain of salt. Everyone's entitled to their own opinions. I'm just going by how I feel, and that's pretty much it. Just keep it, easy going, nothing too serious, and hopefully people enjoyed it.
Dope, dope, dope. All right, Miguel, Nelson known as the Yummy guy.
Yeah, I would just say, pay attention.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds strange, but pay attention to what's going on locally, in your neighborhood, in your city, in your state, in your country, and even internationally. Be aware of what's changing and how it'll affect you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah, I would say that's be surprised, just you know what you'll find and what you'll learn.
Dope. All right, this podcast has been going on for 2 hours, guys. We've been doing it for 2 hours.
Good Lord.
All right, this is
I wonder
perfect.
I'm exhausted.
My additional thinking was like, yeah, it's gonna go off for like an hour and a half. It's been 2 hours, which is perfect. It's good. It's good. Usually, the longer it runs, the more people watch it or like play in the background. But yeah. My closing statement as your host, the Gentleman Gamer, aka GXG, aka Untouchable 4, is shave your pubes and only fart in public. So love you guys. Thanks. I want to thank Armando and Miguel for joining the podcast and providing the articles and leading on their segment. And hopefully we can do this again next week or the week after, and we can make this a segment and bring in more and more people to this channel. And like I said, I might also include a short, well, not a short video. It depends how Armando wants to do it. Video on his review of the Apple products or any review he wants to do on products that he feel comfortable with. And Miguel too, if he wants to review any games or anything like that and be featured on the channel, I'll be happy to post it up. Can't just be my sexy voice every time. So yeah, guys, enjoy your night and stay classy. GG, guys.
GG.
GG.